Have you ever felt alone and wondered how to stay happy in your 70s or 80s? It's not the kind of question most people talk about out loud, but deep down, many older adults feel it every day. As the years go on, life shifts. People move away. Loved ones pass. Connections fade. And one day you wake up and realize you've got time, space, and quiet, but not always company. But here's the truth. Being alone doesn't have to mean being unhappy. In fact, many people find more peace, strength, and even joy in their solitude than they ever expected. In this video, we're going to explore 5 powerful guides to help you feel genuinely happy on your own, especially if you're an older adult without close friendships or regular social ties. These aren't tips to just get through the day. These are real, meaningful shifts that can bring comfort, clarity, and even a little lightness back into your life. Each of these 5 guides draws on emotional wisdom, psychological insight, and everyday examples to help you understand not just what to do, but why it works. Whether you're newly alone or have been for some time, there's something here that may shift how you feel about this next season of your life. And stay tuned until the end, because the last few ideas might not only boost your outlook, but completely change the way you view solitude going forward. Let's get started. Guide 1, a meaningful daily routine. One of the clearest ways to feel happy while living alone is to create a daily rhythm that gives your life structure, comfort, and a sense of purpose. When you're younger, the world often sets your schedule for you: work, children, appointments, obligations. But in later life, especially when you're alone, you wake up and no one's waiting. No one's expecting anything. And that kind of open space can quietly eat away at your energy if it's not shaped with care. Having a routine doesn't mean your day has to be packed. It means you wake up already knowing where your feet will go next. Maybe you start your mornings with a warm cup of coffee and 5 quiet minutes near a sunny window. Maybe you always take a short walk after lunch or do a little gentle stretching before dinner. These small patterns create rhythm, and rhythm creates peace. It might seem simple, but your brain finds comfort in predictable structure. Just like music needs a beat, life feels steadier when there's a flow to your day, even if no one else is part of it. And when you know what comes next, you spend less time feeling lost or stuck. You shift from drifting to moving forward with gentle purpose. Now, that doesn't mean every moment has to be productive. Quite the opposite. Some of the most nourishing routines include rest, like a midday nap, or time set aside to read a good book or tend to your plants. The goal isn't to fill your time like you're patching holes. The goal is to honor your day like it matters, because it does. There's also a deep psychological benefit to choosing your own structure. It gives you back a sense of control. When you decide how your time is spent, even in small ways, you're reminding yourself, this is my life. I still guide it. That sense of ownership boosts both mood and self-worth, especially in a season when outside demands may be few. For example, Harold 76 starts every morning by writing down 3 things: 1 task, 1 treat, and 1 thought. The task might be something simple like folding laundry. The treat could be a walk with music in his ears. And the thought? Sometimes it's a quote. Sometimes it's just a feeling. That quiet habit, done day after day, has kept his days from blending into a gray blur. It gives him a reason to rise and a reason to smile before bed. When you live alone, the danger isn't just boredom. It's feeling like your days don't matter anymore. But they do. And a daily routine, no matter how small, is one of the most powerful ways to remind yourself of that. You don't need a crowd to feel your own life taking shape. You just need rhythm and a little bit of intention. Guide 2, emotional self-reliance. One of the greatest skills you can develop as you get older, especially if you're alone, is learning how to be your own emotional anchor. When you're not surrounded by friends or family day to day, there are moments that can feel incredibly quiet, a little too quiet. Maybe it's when you come home to an empty house. Maybe it's when you want to share something, a laugh, a memory, even a complaint, but there's no one there to hear it. Those are the moments when emotional self-reliance becomes not just helpful, but essential. Emotional self-reliance doesn't mean pretending you don't need anyone. It means knowing how to comfort yourself when no one else is around. It's the ability to sit with your own feelings, whether they're sad, peaceful, grateful, or uncertain, and offer yourself the same kindness you'd offer a friend. Many older adults were never taught how to do this growing up. You were taught to work hard, push through, keep going. But this stage of life invites something gentler, listening to yourself and responding with care. Start with the way you speak to yourself in your own mind. Are you harsh when you make a mistake? Do you dwell on regrets or missed connections? Emotional self-reliance begins with noticing that voice and softening it. Try telling yourself, I did my best today, or it's okay to feel this way, or even just, I'm here. I've got me. It might feel strange at first, but over time, this kind of inner kindness becomes your emotional backbone. Think of it like this: when you were younger, you might have turned to someone for reassurance. A friend, a spouse, a sibling. As time goes on, those people may no longer be near or may not be there at all. But you can still be that voice for yourself. You can recognize your own needs and meet them with patience and grace. One woman I know, her name's Carol, she's 81, keeps a small journal where she writes to herself every evening. She calls it evening check-in. Some nights it's a full page. Other times it's just one sentence: I felt lonely at dinner, but I'm proud I made something warm and ate at the table. That's it. No one else reads it. But she says it helps her feel seen. And when you're alone, sometimes what you need most is to feel seen, even if it's by yourself. Another powerful way to build emotional self-reliance is through breath and stillness. When your emotions rise, sadness, fear, even frustration, take a moment to breathe slowly and deeply. It signals to your body we're okay, and it gives your mind time to respond, not just react. Over time, these small practices become steady tools that can hold you through long days, tough memories, or sudden moments of grief. It's also important to release the shame around loneliness. Feeling lonely doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human. And rather than running from that feeling, emotional self-reliance invites you to sit with it just for a bit, then gently guide yourself back toward calm, like steady hands on a steering wheel. And here's the beautiful part. When you learn to meet your own emotional needs, you become less dependent on unpredictable outside sources. You still enjoy connection when it comes, of course, but your peace no longer depends on it. That's not loneliness. That's strength. That's resilience. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Guide 3, finding joy in small sensory pleasures. When you're living alone, and especially when you're older, happiness doesn't always come from big adventures or major milestones. More often, it's found in the quiet details, the warmth of sunlight on your hands, the familiar smell of something cooking on the stove, the sound of your favorite singer playing softly through a small speaker in the corner of the room. These are the small sensory pleasures that many people overlook. But for those who are alone, they can become the heartbeat of your day. Your senses, sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste are powerful pathways to joy. And when you're not surrounded by people, you have an opportunity to slow down and actually notice what's already around you. That cup of tea in your favorite mug, it's not just hydration, it's comfort. The blanket you pull over your legs while you watch a good movie, it's not just warmth, it's reassurance. When you pay close attention to those little physical experiences, they start to lift your mood without you even realizing it. There's a reason these details matter so much. Psychologically, when we engage our senses, our minds become anchored in the present moment. And for many older adults, living alone, that present moment can feel like a lifeline. You're not thinking about regrets from years ago or worries about tomorrow. You're just here, letting a breeze through the window touch your face. That's where peace lives. Not in the rush, but in the noticing. Try this for yourself. Light a candle before you eat dinner, even if it's just you. Put on socks fresh from the dryer and really feel the softness. Turn on a piece of music from your younger years. And don't just listen, remember. Dance a little, hum along, let it wash over you. These aren't rewards you have to earn. These are small ways of saying to yourself, I'm still here. I still matter. Let me tell you about Ralph, 84. Every afternoon, he peels a single orange and eats it slowly by the window. He says the smell reminds him of the house he grew up in, and the taste, sweet, a little sharp, brings him back to being a boy in the summertime. He doesn't rush it. That orange is a daily ritual. It connects him to life, to memory, and to a quiet kind of happiness that has nothing to do with anyone else. There's also something very grounding about touch, especially when it comes to things that feel soft, textured, or comforting. That's why so many people, consciously or not, stroke the armrest of a chair, wrap themselves in a cozy robe, or gently hold their own hands when sitting alone. It's a human need to feel physical connection, and you can offer that to yourself. Warm baths, massaging lotion into your hands, even petting a dog or cat, All of it speaks to a part of you that still longs for care. And taste, don't underestimate it. When you're alone, it's easy to fall into eating for fuel instead of pleasure. But preparing something you enjoy, sitting down with it, and truly tasting it, that can be an act of self-respect. It's not about being fancy. It's about remembering that you deserve pleasure too. Whether it's a bite of chocolate or a piece of buttered toast, those little indulgences tell your body you're loved. What ties all of this together is one powerful truth. Your life is still full of sensation, even if it's quiet. And tuning into those senses is one of the gentlest, most effective ways to feel alive again. Not busy, not distracted, but present. There is beauty in the way a breeze moves the curtains. There's joy in a bite of your favorite pie. There's peace in the smell of fresh sheets, in your fingertips brushing the rim of a teacup, in the crackle of a fire on the TV screen. And none of that depends on anyone else. It's all yours. By learning to notice and savor these moments, you create a kind of companionship with life itself. And that relationship, the one between you and your world, can be as rich and nourishing as any conversation you might have with another person. These simple pleasures don't just fill the silence. They turn the silence into something sacred. And for those living alone, that shift can make all the difference. Guide 4, connecting indirectly with the world around you. Just because you don't have close friends nearby doesn't mean you can't feel connected to others or to the world. In fact, some of the most powerful forms of connection don't come from deep conversation or daily visits. They come from simple, quiet exchanges that remind you you're still part of something larger than yourself. When you live alone, especially later in life, it's easy to feel invisible. You walk through the store and no one looks up. You sit at a park and no one stops to say hello. But here's what I want you to know. Being seen doesn't always require someone knowing your full story. Sometimes just a glance, a nod, a shared moment of kindness can reawaken that sense of belonging. Start small. When you go out for a walk, make eye contact with the people you pass. Offer a gentle smile. Say good morning. You might not start a conversation. You may never see them again. But those little gestures matter because they say, I'm still here and so are you. Another powerful way to stay connected is to contribute something, even if no one sees it directly. One man I spoke to, Dennis, he's 79, leaves notes in library books. Not big ones. Just a line or two. This story made me laugh. Hope it brings you a smile too. Or, well, you're not alone. Keep going. He'll never know who reads them. But in doing that, he feels part of a chain. A quiet network of human hearts passing encouragement to one another. Volunteering, even in very small ways, is another meaningful path. Some older adults read to children over the phone. Others knit blankets for hospitals or write cards for people in hospice. You don't have to be loud or outgoing. Just showing up in whatever form you can brings you into relationship with life again. It reminds you you still have something to give. Technology, too, can offer subtle connection. You might not feel like jumping into social media, but maybe there's a forum or a video comment section where others your age are sharing stories. Reading, responding, even just knowing others out there feel the same, that's a form of community too. Or maybe you enjoy sending birthday cards to neighbors, or leaving a kind review for a local bakery. These things might feel small, but they ripple. And in return, you begin to sense the world noticing you back, not with fanfare, but with warmth. What's important here is the direction of your energy. Rather than turning inward and closing off, you're extending outward, gently, quietly, consistently. You're saying to the world, I may be alone, but I'm not disconnected. And in return, life has a way of responding. Think about the last time a stranger did something kind for you. Maybe someone held a door or helped you carry a bag or said something nice in passing. Do you remember how that felt? You can be that moment for someone else, and in doing so, you strengthen your own sense of connection. There's also a kind of peace that comes from simply being in shared spaces. You don't have to speak. Just sitting at a cafe, walking through a museum, or spending time at a local garden gives your spirit a chance to feel part of humanity again. You're not on the sidelines, you're in it, even if it's quiet, even if it's solo. And here's a gentle truth: the world needs people like you, people who observe, people who appreciate the little things, people who smile without needing anything in return. Your presence, your steadiness, your quiet strength, it adds to the fabric of the world. So even if you're alone in your home, your existence echoes outward. Every small act of attention, kindness, or care becomes a thread of connection. You don't have to wait for someone to reach out. You can start the wave one quiet ripple at a time. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Guide 5, keeping your mind curious and learning. When the noise of social life fades and you're left with more quiet time than ever before, one of the most meaningful ways to stay happy is by keeping your mind engaged. Not distracted, not simply entertained, but truly alive with curiosity, with learning, with wonder about the world you're still very much part of. There's a common myth that after a certain age, our brains just start winding down, that the season of growing and discovering is behind us. But neuroscience and life experience tells a different story. As long as you're breathing, your brain is capable of learning something new, of making new connections, and of expanding its understanding. In fact, many older adults who feel most content are those who've kept their minds open, even when life became quiet. Learning doesn't mean going back to school or taking on some big, intimidating project. It simply means inviting newness into your mind. That might be reading a book you never thought you'd pick up, watching a documentary about something outside your usual interests, trying a new recipe that uses an ingredient you've never cooked with. Even just listening to a podcast while folding laundry can plant a new idea in your mind. There's a man named Frank, he's 82, who started painting last year. He had never picked up a brush before, not once. But one day on a walk, he passed an art store, bought a small watercolor set, and just began. He says he doesn't paint masterpieces, but every time he dips his brush in water, he feels something awaken in him. He's learning to see color differently. He's learning to be patient with himself. And he says the act of learning, not the finished product, is what makes his days feel full again. What happens when you keep your mind curious is this life stops feeling like it's closing in. Instead, it starts opening up. You begin noticing more. You start making little connections between things, between past experiences and new ones, between what you've always known and what you're still discovering. That kind of engagement gives your mind a place to go. And when your mind is moving forward, even gently, it's much harder for loneliness or hopelessness to take root. Another beautiful part of learning is that it strengthens your relationship with yourself. When you explore new ideas, you're essentially saying to yourself, I still have questions. I still care. I still want to know more. That's a powerful affirmation, especially in a stage of life where many people feel forgotten or underestimated. And this doesn't have to be academic or formal. Gardening teaches you something new every week. Watching birds out your window can become a daily study. Learning a new prayer, hymn, or meditation practice adds richness to your spiritual life. Even writing down your memories, stories you've lived through, helps you see patterns, wisdom, and meaning that may have gone unnoticed for years. Keeping your mind active also improves your overall health. Studies show that seniors who stay mentally engaged tend to have better memory, sharper thinking, and more emotional resilience. It's not about solving math problems or memorizing trivia. It's about staying interested, about letting yourself be surprised by something. Think about the last time you learned something that made you pause and say, I didn't know that. It doesn't matter if it was from a book, a conversation, a movie, or even a mistake you made. That moment of realization, that little flicker of curiosity, is what makes your spirit feel young again. And the more you feed it, the more alive you feel. In the quiet of your home, you have a powerful opportunity. You can let your mind shrink or you can let it stretch. One path leads to stillness and peace. The other leads to stagnation and sorrow. And the difference is often just a small choice to pick up the book, to watch the program, to ask the question. So whether it's a puzzle on your table, a map on your wall, or an old memory you decide to write down today, keep your mind moving. Not frantically, not with pressure, just with curiosity. It will not only keep you company, it will give your life shape, purpose, and color, even in the quietest moments. Because happiness alone doesn't come from distraction. It comes from attention, from discovery, from learning that even now, in this chapter of life, there are still new things waiting for you, and they just might change the way you see the world, or even the way you see yourself. Final thoughts. As we bring this video to a close, take a quiet moment to reflect on these 5 guides. Which one spoke to you most deeply? Was it the reminder to build a steady routine? Or maybe the idea that joy can still be found in the smell of a warm meal?